right, welcome everybody. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. It is Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 at about 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, coming to you from the great state of Texas. Just wanted to get out there and get this quick SITREP in for you guys. Now, we're going to go through a couple things here this morning. I will tell you, right now we do have 82-8000, which is one of the presidential birds, airborne. I will tell you that Joe is still, he is in the senior center today, up in the brown zone, that he doesn't have any travel on the docket. But just note that it is still being called NA, whether he's on it or not, which is kind of an interesting thing. And I'm really not sure what to make of all of this just yet. This is still very unusual for him to be flying on that and not calling it Air Force One. I don't know if it's just out of disrespect or security, or he's actually not POTUS. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I've never seen that, and I've been in this industry for almost 35 years and, always watching the skies. And this is just very unusual. So, all right. So with that said, we're going to just kind of go through some of the birds that are currently up right now. We do have this. This is a British bird that's flying out of Central America. It came through the same path yesterday, and it's going to go VFR direct over to back to the UK, guaranteed. All right. But it looked like it did a round robin down here into Central America. I don't know what they're doing down there, but whatevers. All right. Looks like we got a B-52 rolling out of Barksdale Air Force Base. Not sure if that is just going to do a standard flight or if we are getting ready to see some uptick of B-52s departing CONUS headed overseas. So we'll keep our eye on that one throughout the day and see where it goes and what it does. So right now it's only at about 20,000 feet, but it's still doing a climb out and getting past some weather here. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Looks like we got the huge down here in terms of trainers. Lots and lots of activity down here in South Texas for trainer San Antonio area, and then right up the middle there, just north of Dallas, all the way up into Oklahoma. So that's going to be a lot of trainer congestion, and it looks like they've got some of the doing a little activity out here over West Texas as well. So, all right. I did see some P8s again out this morning. We've got one right here that is, again, running that same pattern down the coast. Now, remember, this is Mar-a-Lago down here. So running, this is a sub-hunter, okay? Another P8 right here. Looks like doing some more work. Exactly same out here. Just interesting. If Trump is down here and you've got enemy subs that they are down in this area that these guys are tracking, pretty interesting data point. I don't know if that is the case, but boy, these guys have been really doing a lot of work along this coast right here for the entire almost 2 weeks now, where we've seen them back and forth. So very busy. So there's one P8, two P8s. Now, remember, these P8s, we looked at these earlier. These are the P8 Poseidons. They are the replacement for the P3, although the P3 is still flying. But these things are sub-hunters. I mean, they have the ability to communicate with our subs and dropping booms down and, communicating that way, as well as looking for enemy subs. And that's really their specialty, right? So you can see they're doing these big lazy circles around, right? And then doing some more data points. They're not really doing what, a search pattern, so to speak. It just seems to be out here doing, I don't know. It's crazy. All right. So anyway, we will continue to watch that. Here's another. So speaking of, let's get over here real fast. Sorry, I'm bouncing around on you. Another P3. Looks like that one came out of Jacksonville and is landing in Tampa right now. And then here's another P3, which is looks like it's headed southbound. Maybe it's coming in to assist. That right there is priority air transport. That's just a little. Looks like it's coming out of the same area though. But that is headed southbound. That is just a BE-20, so no telling where that one's going. But this P3 is headed southbound as well. Looks like they're at the same altitude, pretty close. So, all right, got a little fighter coming out of Jax Naval Air Station, and a air refueler coming out of Tampa. All right, another fighter right here. And so I was commenting yesterday as I was doing one of my Patreon live shows on this. Man, I can't ever recall seeing this many fighters. Typically, you don't see them on at all. I mean, you see the trainers, right? Like these T-38 lawn darts. You see those all the time, and you see these little Tweety birds out here. But these right here that are the, or like this one right here, something has changed within this open ADS-B exchange software, or I don't know where, but we're now I'm starting to see more fighters in the sky. So, all right. And the dogs are barking again. I'm telling you, every time I go live, the dogs bark. Don't know what it is, but nonetheless, we will digress. All right. Over San Diego, looks like we've got Osprey up, a little C2 aircraft, and a couple H-60s out doing some work. Another fighter on the ground right there. Now, FFAB, if I'm not mistaken, actually looks like he's just taken off. So, all right. We'll come back to that, maybe. Some more lawn darts. Not very often I see T-38s out here on the West Coast like that. That's pretty unusual to see those flying around out here. Now, there's our U-2, Dragon Lady. Looks like that one is just getting off the ground. Took off at about 9:19. And it's been up for a little over an hour. Looks like it's just doing some probably touch and goes around the area, but we'll see where it goes. But that's going to be our U-2. That's a spy plane, and we'll do a little bit of education stuff on that one in one of the coming shows. So today we're going to do the F-16 and touch on that, but we will talk about the U-2. It's kind of an interesting bird. Been around a long time, as has most of our fleet, as you will start to see. I mean, we talked about the B-52 and how that bad dude was out in like 1946, and how they've just continued to modify it. And you're going to see that most of our fleet, with the exception of F-22 and F-35, and maybe some new 767 tankers and things like that, and C-17 is pretty new, but most of these have been out flying around longer than you and I have been walking on this planet. So it's pretty crazy when you think about our military being that old in terms of equipment. So, all right. So that is where we are right now. We're sitting at, let's look at our number, 328 for the U.S., which is about 75 higher than usual. And that for a Tuesday morning at 10:30, that's pretty good elevated number. And so, as you guys know, we have been on DEFCON 4 now for a couple days due to elevated risk of attack in Iraq. And so, those not familiar with DEFCON, they go DEFCON 5 to DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1 is the worst. If you're at DEFCON 1, I think there's like an immediate or an impending nuclear attack inbound or something. But DEFCON 4 is just a slightly elevated. DEFCON 5 means everything's normal. DEFCON stands for defense condition, okay? And so, like I said, it doesn't change very often. It usually stays at 5, but every once in a while you'll see that thing spike, and we're in one of those little spikes. So we'll see what happens if things smooth out. Evidently, it was due to the Syrian strike in recent days, and I guess Iran is a butthurt level Bravo because we took out some of their assets in Syria and Damascus. So now keep your eye on Damascus, because that is biblical. So Isaiah 17 tells us that Damascus will be leveled overnight, and I want to say it's by Israel. And so we'll kind of watch that area. When you see things start to happen in Damascus, it's definitely biblical. So, all right. Another fighter out here off the coast. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, CPAC is done, to my knowledge. I know Trump is no longer doing any of that. I think it ended over the weekend. So we had seen some electronic stuff coming down off the coast, and we thought that was related to the CPAC effort. But right now, we've still got a lot of things happening out here. So we'll keep our eye on it and continue to. But just knowing that Trump is down here, and we got all of this activity off the coast can be a little concerning, okay? So, especially if it's enemy subs, all right? So, all right. Now we will back out of this a little bit and head into looking at the Biden schedule for today. Looks like he is still going to be, he's staying in the senior center all day today. So I don't see him doing any exfils, not on the docket for today. So there's no travel. So that 747 asset that's up, the Air Force One asset, is not him. And it's just showing an A. So wouldn't be anything anyway if he wasn't on it. So, all right. So we're going to head over to Guantanamo Bay, aka the spa. It looks like the spa is pretty clean for today. We've got, let's see, nothing really showing on the board outside of, this is from Friday. So it's been kind of a quiet in terms of arrivals. I will tell you, I've been watching some of these companies in terms of them, because remember now, Air Transport International, Amerijet, just like, what's this one here? This is ATI, and then this is Airborne Express. And then, but that said, these companies are service providers for our agencies. Okay. So I've been watching their flights just to kind of get a general feel of where they're going, what they're doing, see if there's anything to it. Okay. Now some of these, in a lot of cases, they're just cargo aircraft. Okay. But remember, cargo aircraft like Kalita, those airplanes can actually be converted into, they can put seats in there. And so they just pop open that side door and they slide out some different skids and roll in, take out the cargo skids and put in aircraft seating. And so it's pretty simple to do. And so if they needed to convert those aircraft and use them for troop rotation or prisoner transports or whatever it may be, they could very easily convert those. Okay. All right. So this right now, as we're looking at, this is a Amerijet, and you can see these guys are, looks like they're down, and this is actually live. So they're real time flying right now. This one, let's see, we've got 5 or 6 birds. We're going to go down here and look at where they're headed. These look like they're staying CONUS, but these looks like they're leaving. This one headed to San Juan, and so Miami too. All right, so let's take a look. So we've got 767-300 coming out of Miami, and that one is headed to, can't even pronounce that, but Quito, wherever that may be. And got another, that's an Airbus A321, and that looks like it's headed out of Bridgetown, headed to Miami. Another 67300 that's headed out of Miami into San Juan, Puerto Rico. And another Amerijet 76300, looks like going Sacramento to Philly, Ontario, California to Philly, and Miami to Panama City. All right, so that is where our Amerijets are rolling out today, but we're going to continue to watch those because we do know these guys roll in and out of Gitmo. That's where we have spotted them several times, but they do a lot of legwork for the agencies, and so it's good to just keep an eye on those. All right, so we will watch them. I kind of like doing just the whole, instead of trying to pin down one aircraft, I like being able to just look at it broad brush and see where they all are in action right now. So we'll pull in Atlas Air and a couple others. So there is a kind of a top 10 list of these companies that they use a lot of, and that's the ones I'm going to be focusing on. Now, for those not following the last couple SITREPs, our Graybirds have gone completely off radar. So I guess we were really over the target because they are now been changed to where we can't actually watch their flights. They've been requested by the customer to not show those. So they aren't on there anymore. So if you go to look them up, there is no information. So, okay. That said, we're going to head over here to Air Transport International. As you can see, look like we got a couple just rolling out like clockwork. All CONUS so far. We get down here, it looks like we've got them heading out of Sky Harbor to Pennsylvania, Allentown. We've got them from Allentown over to Chicago, JFK to Sacramento, Sacramento to Lakeland, Florida, Chicago O'Hare to Phoenix, and then looks like we've got some Windsor Locks stuff over to San Francisco. Now, Windsor Locks is definitely, that's an area that we've watched a lot of Kalita and a lot of the other agencies roll out of. So that place right there in Connecticut is definitely a watch place for CIA operations. Okay. All right, now we're going to head over to XPL Honduras. It looks like right now the only thing we have on the board from Wednesday, and that was the last Wednesday, is going to be a Reach 219, and that came out of Charleston. And so that's a supply run headed down to XPL. And XPL is going to be one of our alternate locations to Guantanamo Bay. That's in Central America, Honduras. All right, now over to Camp Justice. Now, for those of you not familiar, this is at Diego Garcia out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, okay? And the reason I'm watching this also is because we want to kind of see what's happening in terms of stacking them up for potential things happen in the Middle East, because that is a staging location. I know we send a lot of B-52s over there that will take off and run missions out of Diego Garcia. So we're keeping our eye on that. But looks like right now we've just got our Air Transport Internationals again, 767-300. That's going to be a supply run out of Yokota Air Base, Japan, and it's like 2 of those. So we had one on Tuesday and on Friday. And what we're watching for are those to be regular tempo stuff. So Tuesday, Fridays, we should see continued Tuesday, Fridays, because they typically do their supply chain runs on the same days every time. So it's a regular schedule. And it looks like we've got a medic bird that came out of Singapore over to that island. Okay. So let's see here real fast. Now, remember last time we checked into this one, we actually had one of the gray birds on here. And it was shortly after that we lost contact of the gray birds. So to see them out in the middle of, the Indian Ocean is pretty interesting. And like I said, I think we were certainly over the target, because you don't see them very often go in and say the, request to have their information taken down and blocked. Okay. So this one looks like it hasn't flown. That's February 28th was the last one. So that was a couple days ago. And looks like it went to from Malaysia over to Singapore. So it was out in our location in Diego Garcia on the 23rd of February. So it's kind of an older flight, I guess, a couple days. So, all right, let's go take a look at our new AG. Looks like that dude is in. Looks like he went down to Tucson, Arizona, and he's back in the brown zone. So. And that looks to have taken place yesterday, March 1st. All right. So that looked like a one-day trip. So wonder what the AG is doing from heading out of the brown zone down to Tucson, Arizona, and back. Okay. Now, one of the things I was going to tell you is I have been researching all the Homeland Security aircraft, and I've got a list of about 70 aircraft that are active. And I'm really not sure what to do with that, because it's interesting to watch what they're up to. And so what I'm going to do from time to time is we'll just spot check them and throw some things out there until I can figure out. Now, if we see some crazy activity like we saw in Nashville with the bombing in Nashville, then I'll delve into that area and see if we have any Homeland Security birds around, or FBI, or anything else like that. So because I've got a pretty extensive list of tail numbers, and so what I'm watching is the aircraft in that region. And so like I said, if something happens in that area, or we see riots happening, things like that, I'll pull in the aircraft that are assigned. Now I can tell you a lot of these tail numbers are California, Texas, Arizona, a lot of them. And so matter of fact, a majority of them are Texas. And so be a lot of looking. So, all right. So that said, we're going to go take a look at this. This is in 3990 Alpha, and landed about a day ago, and it was out here in San Diego on the 28th of February. And so you can just see it was doing some legwork down along the border. So this is the border. It looks like it was just doing Homeland Security stuff. And so, but that is a little Eurocopter AS-350. And it's a pretty nice little bird, as you guys can see. U.S. Customs, I think, is what that one says. But most of these birds that I have looked at don't have any markings on them whatsoever. And so we will be looking at those as well. Okay. All right. Now, this one is one of ours for DC. Okay. And this is N844LC. And this is a pretty spiffy little little Sikorsky bird. It's very nice looking, actually. I know if I was flying on a helo, I would like to fly on one like that because it looks pretty cool. So, but that one looks like it was doing some work today, actually this morning, 9:15 to about 9:25, a little quick short hop, all within the brown zone. So we'll continue to watch that one because that tells me somebody's doing a little commuting right here for Homeland Security, and they may be, going in for briefings or something with Biden. So we'll watch that one too, just to see what it does and if anything changes. But like I said, notice there's no markings on that indicate that that is Homeland Security. But we go down here to get past these Maserati ads, and you can see it is a Homeland Security is the owner, little S76 twin turbo shaft. And now we'll pop over to another one. This is in California again. This is N610A. Rolled out yesterday out of Oceanside, California, down in San Diego. And this looks to be a little beach Super King 350, Super King Air 350. And looks like it was doing some work out over the water. And I don't know, this is actually down south. This is into, that's the border right there. So they're down looking for something. So no telling what it was. Typically, that's a beach. That's an aircraft and not a helo. And so anyway, all right. So here's what we want to talk about today. We're going to get into the F-16. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to bounce into some news that I found interesting because it is, I guess, what we would expect from this government administration. So, all right. So this is the F-16 Fighting Falcon. It's a U.S.-made fighter aircraft. All right. Now, what you're looking at currently on here, these are weapon loads. Okay. Different variations. So you have some air-to-air and probably some air-to-ground missiles there. And then you have external tanks, these big ones right here. These are external fuel tanks, okay? And so the F-16 Falcon has been around for a while. It started manufacturing that aircraft in 1974. It was originally made by General Dynamics. And then Lockheed Martin bought out General Dynamics, and then they picked it up. And it was being manufactured at the Fort Worth facility, okay? And so now they don't make them anymore for the Air Force, okay? The Air Force quit buying those things a couple years back, and so they only make them now really for foreign military sales. So I don't know how many companies or countries are out there right now. I think there's about 25 countries that actually use the F-16. So everywhere from Israel to Oman to Saudi Arabia to, you name it, Japan. All these countries are actually utilizing that aircraft. And so it is a workhorse. It's been out there for a long time, right? One of the interesting things now, if you look at it closely, the canopy on that is what they call the bubble canopy. It was one of the originals. Now you can see current modern fighters have actually all kind of gone to that, but it gives just incredible visibility. It's super durable. It's just it works well with the heads-up display. But this is one of the original fly-by-wire aircraft, and by that, what I mean is, in older aircraft, they used to use cables and pulleys and things, right? So when a pilot was flying, if he would pull back on the stick or forward, or what they call a yoke, right? That would be connected to a series of wires or pulleys, okay, and cables that would direct the flight surface, okay? Well, now the fly-by-wire is all electronic and it's super agile, right? And so when the pilot is flying on this one, his control or his yoke, so to speak, is off to the side. Okay, it's not sitting in the middle between his legs like most older fighters or jets used to be, or even commercial aircraft now, right? It sits between the pilot's legs, with the exception of some of the Airbus and some of the others that are now starting to do the same with the flight controls off to the side. Okay, but this The F-16 did the fly-by-wire, and so that was one of the first. And now, I mean, they pretty much mastered that. And the other thing too is this has an internal cannon, which is the M61 Vulcan, and it's pretty powerful. It gives them some air-to-air capability for dogfighting, but very, very hard to actually hit something with that. Those pilots have to train a lot to be able to actually utilize that cannon, because you get pretty much one shot at it and then you're done. Okay. All right. So now let's talk performance. Okay. Total length of the aircraft is 49 feet. Wingspan is about 32 feet. Height is about 16 feet. So it's not a really large aircraft. Empty, the thing weighs about 18,900 pounds, which is pretty light. Gross weight is about 26,500 pounds, and then max takeoff weight is 42,000 pounds. So that thing carries almost the weight of the aircraft in terms of munitions and armament. So that's pretty impressive. Fuel capacity holds about 7,000 pounds of fuel, which is not a lot, okay? And that's internally. So now you can add those external fuel tanks that we were just talking about, and that'll give it a little bit more. Now, it does have air refueling capability, and which is a must, because I can tell you it will go through the 7,000 pounds of fuel pretty rapidly. Max speed is about 2.05 Mach, and it will fly up to about 40,000 feet, and that's without all the armament. So that's what they would call clean. Okay, so if it doesn't have any bombs or munitions on it, it'll get up to about 40,000 feet. After that, the engine starts to starve for oxygen and it'll stall out. Okay, so combat range is about 295 nautical miles, or 339 miles. So it has the capability to carry quite a bit of different sets of armament, to include the B-61 nuclear bomb and the B-83 nuclear bomb. So this thing has nuclear capability, can carry those. All right. If you guys remember, there was some talk that the one that crashed up in Maine or something was carrying a nuclear bomb. That was, I think, just disinformation, but it does have the capability. Okay. All right, folks, and that is the F-16. And so now we will bounce back over to our ADS-B and just take one last quick look at what's going on. Now, things are heating up over in the Middle East, and so we want to take a quick look as we head over to Europe. You're probably going to start to see a lot more activity over in this general area, just based on what's happening, because I don't think, even with Biden in office, that we're going to allow any shenanigans to take place. I just don't think it's going to happen. So, but looks like we got a Eurofighter that's out looks like he's out over the drink south of Cyprus doing some work. And what do we have here? A little A322 and a little A400. That is also kind of doing some legwork out here in the general area. That's a UK high wing prop, 4-engine prop, and a couple Reach aircraft. So I've been watching the Reach kind of coming into this area pretty regularly the last couple of days. So it looks like we're starting to move some assets over here. I don't know if it's ground troops or just could be anything from troops to tanks to missile deployments, now we may be doing some air defense stuff like MEADS or THAAD or something over here in the region. Okay. All right. Now let's go look at the news real fast, because I do want to share this with you. I thought it was very interesting. Just given that we know what has taken place with Ukraine, we know about the uranium one shenanigans and how none of these people were ever held accountable, but they went out and spent our hard-earned tax dollars giving it out like candy, okay, including their own families and pockets, all right? And so here we are. This happened, this was 20 hours ago, but the U.S. announces $125 million in military aid for the Ukraine, okay? Now, if that's not hush money, I don't know what is, all right? And so now, that isn't just that tip of the iceberg. Check this out. Right below it is another article that happened in recent days as well. The U.S. State Department clears $600 million deal with the Ukraine for patrol boats, guns, and sensors. So we are pumping money into the Ukraine for military aid. That to me, especially given all the information that we had on Hunter and the things that were happening over there, and the whole pay to play deal where, Joe had some high end attorney fired if they wanted the money. You guys remember that whole thing, right? And so the fact that we're right out of the gate giving these people, we're not even into the first 100 days, and we're already giving Ukraine 125 million in military aid, plus another 600 million cleared for patrol boats, guns, and sensors. I mean, come on, how obvious can you be? The corruption, it never ends, and I am so sick of our tax dollars just getting pumped out to everybody around the world in terms of hush money and just buying people off. So anyway, some things never change, folks, and we are stuck with this. Just hang on to your wallets, because I imagine the next 4 years, the Brown Zone and the Senior Center is going to be pumping your dollars around the world like nobody's business. All right, folks, well, that's all I have for this SITREP. So I'll be back on Friday with my next one. God bless. Monkey out.